Duke has never lost a tournament game in the state of New Jersey. Cooper Flagg and the Blue Devils clashing with the Crimson Tide. 1 versus 2 in the East region. First half, Cooper Flagg spins off the defender. Bucket good. Duke up by 13. Nate Oats wants a timeout. Alabama's largest deficit this tournament. Ensuing Alabama possession. Mohamed Diabate blocked. Get it out. Flagg with the rejection. 20 seconds left in the first. Flagg and 1. Blue Devils into the break up by 9. Duke is the first team since Indiana in 1987 with 45 first-half points in each of their first 4 NCAA tournament games. That Hoosier team went on to win the title. Early second half, Flagg in transition, blocked by Grant Nelson, swung to Mark Sears, knocks down his first triple of the game, was 0 for 2 in the first half. He made 10 in Alabama's last game when they hit a record 25 threes. Just over 12 to go. Inbound to Con Knippel. Duke back up by double digits. Knippel finished with 21. Flagg, baseline. Duke up by 9. As for Alabama's star, Mark Sears, he just could not get anything going this after an incredible performance against BYU in the Sweet 16 when he went for 34 points and 10 made threes. In the Elite 8 against Duke, 6 points on 2 of 12, including 1 of 5 from beyond the arc. 5 turnovers, but still a heck of a career at Alabama for Mark Sears. Flagg going to be one and done. Finished with 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and Duke wins it wire to wire. Final score 85-65, advancing to the Final Four. Last one was just a few years ago in 2022, Coach K's final season. It's their 18th Final Four appearance, and they are marching on to San Antonio. Head coach John Shire played in the Final Four at Duke, won a title as a player, now coaching in the Final Four for Duke and chasing another title.
A little different feeling from a year ago. After the Elite 8 exit last season, you challenged the mental toughness of this team. Just how tough were they tonight?
They were tough as could be. I mean, look, their offense to hold them to 65 points, that's incredible. You know, obviously for us, just for this group to come together this offseason, how connected they are, how tough they are, couldn't be more proud.
There was so much attention on Cooper, as there should be. This guy, Con, set the tone early.
This guy's a stud right here. He's the ultimate warrior, competitor, and he really carried us throughout tonight. Really, man, this guy's been incredible, man. He's been incredible.
Since we're live to the house, what would you like to say to the Duke fans?
Oh, we're live, huh? Who's ready to go to San Antonio?
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations. Con, you were outstanding. Coach talked all summer and all season about mental toughness. Just how locked in and confident was this team coming in tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're always pretty confident coming in. We knew that they were a high-powered offense, so we had to bring our A game and defense in on the boards, and I thought we did just that.
You have so much calm about you when you attack the basket and you read the defense. Like, how slow does the game seem to you, and how do you read it so well?
I mean, I'm a slow guy, so I try to make it slow. I tricked a couple, but I'm glad most of them went down.
Now you have to bring back a championship like your brothers did. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, you're next. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Duke on to the Final Four in San Antonio, the 18th Final Four appearance, 3rd all-time behind only their rival North Carolina and UCLA. It's their first Final Four since 2022 when Coach K guided them there, his final season, and they lost to North Carolina. Duke has trailed for just 5 minutes and 35 seconds this tournament, and now they are on to another Final Four. Live coverage continues here on CBS Sports HQ. Back out to New Jersey, the Blue Devils at the podium.
I mean, obviously, it's a big honor. It's a blessing. I wouldn't have been able to do it without the guys sitting next to me here and the rest of the guys in the locker room. So I got to give all the credit to them, the coaches, for just putting me in a lot of really good situations, spots on the court, giving me the ball in the right spots, and then just allowing me to play free, off the ball, on the ball, whatever it was, just letting me be me. And just got to give all the credit to my teammates and coaches.
Down here in front, right in front of me.
Sam Fetterman, Daily Dose of Hoops. For all of you guys, this is the standard. This is the expectation at Duke to know that you're adding on to a legacy, making all of the past Duke players, coaches, and the history of Duke basketball proud by adding your names to the list of Duke players to go to the Final Four. Just what does that mean to all of you guys, and has it even kind of set in yet?
Why don't we go Sion and comment on that one?
Yeah, it's awesome because just like you said, it's the expectation almost in a sense because of how it's been here. But it's not a guarantee by any means. Just because we go to Duke or play for Duke doesn't mean that we're going to be in the Final Four every year. It's a grind. We had to work from the minute we got here to get to this position. But it's really cool to know that we're following in the footsteps of some of the Duke greats and have a chance to make Duke history next week.
And Common?
To me, as I said, it's a blessing to be able to have a great opportunity like this, to be able to go to San Antonio and do it with such a special group of guys, my best friends, my brothers, and I'm really excited for this, and I'm going to enjoy this win and then move on.
We got time for one more question. I think we have one in row 3.
John Armour here from Undrafted US. For Coop, kind of to build on that, can you just take me through the journey from the beginning of the tournament? A lot of people didn't believe you would even suit up after the injury to now, as a team rallying against one another. Rallying against for one another and, just coming a game away from this championship. Can you just take me through the journey?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different things that go into that. Our training staff, Jose and Nick on the medical staff, just, being really great with me, just working with me, putting a great plan in place, getting me ready to come back for the first game of the tournament. And for me, it was just, it sucked, being out missing those games. But just the way these guys were able to hold it down, win the ACC tournament still, have my back, lift me up, was huge. Just gave me so much confidence. And then just to be ready to come back, like I said, the training staff was huge, played a huge part in that. And then just, getting back, getting right, and coming back and playing.
Gentlemen, we appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations. Good luck in San Antonio. Yeah. You can take them. You can take them. They'll probably have new ones in San Antonio. You're good.
Come on, you're here.
You can take yours too afterward, all right?
Perfect.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach Shire at this time. We'll start down here with Jerry in end of row 1.
Jerry Carino from Gannett, New Jersey. John, what do you think of the Prudential Center as a host? This is the first time they had this event in 14 years, and what do you think of them as a potential future host for this?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the crowd was great. I think selfishly, when you get a chance to get back to the Northeast, you see a lot of Duke fans, which is amazing. But just the entire setup, everybody here, the help, professionals, it was first class here.
We'll stay here in row 1, right here in front of us.
Coach Jake Fenner, Daily Mail. You're led here by your freshmen. Its mentality might be an issue because this is a stage that they've never played at before. Is that a little bit of a nagging doubt that you have in your mind? And if it isn't, what about, say, Common, and Cooper really makes them stand out from that perspective?
I think if you were around them every day, you wouldn't have doubt yourself. I'm not saying you do, by the way. I'm just saying for me, they're mature. Age is just a number, and obviously it's different to have 3 freshmen starting. And tonight we played 5 freshmen. A team that's going to a Final Four, and I think for our program, we've always thought about doing things differently. I think the key to this team, one, is you bring in the right people as freshmen, but then you have great balance. Tyrese is a junior, Caleb coming back, Sion, Mason, Malik. That balance is huge, and I think that was really important for us in the offseason to add that, in addition to really mature freshmen who are loose, confident, competitive, and not fazed by this environment.
We'll stay in row 1 right here in the middle.
John, at one point, I think early to mid-February, Caleb kind of fell out of the rotation. What is it about him that kept him focused, kept him engaged, and how big of a lift did he give you tonight in the first half?
Caleb was huge tonight, and to your point, look, it's this thing is a an evolution, and the year hadn't gone the way that Caleb or I had both hoped. But I think the most important thing was our dialogue throughout of just ultimately wanting him to help the team the best that he could, him having an incredible attitude, his family allowing us to coach him, and I had great confidence in him because he had been stringing together, some really competitive, good games. And tonight his minutes were huge. He had a couple baskets, but the 3 assists, the defense. I couldn't be more proud of him, and that's part of what makes this thing special too, is the relationship to be able to hang tough when things aren't going as well.
We'll go in row 2 here, and then we'll go to the middle in row 2.
Jackson Shanks, Seton Hall Center for Sport Media. Coach, you followed one of, if not the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. With that history comes the pressure of legacy, and legacies begin to take shape in the round you just advanced to. Were there moments where you reflected on the pressure that might come following a legacy like Coach K? And if so, what are the emotions after a win like tonight?
Well, look, as I was going through the interview process, I did my homework. When you look at successions, and very, very rarely is this thing, do people succeed, following. There's Coach K's one of one, but following a legendary or a great coach. I'll tell you, for me, a huge thing was having that year, though. And for Coach K to be able to have the vision. I don't know how many coaches genuinely want to see the program succeed when they leave. And for me, I've always wanted to make him proud of him wanting to. Part of his legacy isn't just the wins. I want his legacy to be how our program continues to, be right there as a top program. And that's something Coach K and I have talked a lot about. And so obviously there's a responsibility you feel and a pride, but this hasn't been about outside noise for me, because I don't know if you can ever win. But so my energy has gone into everybody that's in our building, our team, what we can control. And I just couldn't be more proud and thankful for having a group that's believed in me, us, the support from our administration, just down the line, has been incredible. So I'm really proud of the people that have believed in me and us to get this to get to a Final Four.
We'll stay in row 2 in the middle.
Jon Scheyer played in the Final Four in 2010, helped lead Duke to a national championship. Now he's coaching Duke in a Final Four. Perhaps he will do something that not a whole lot of men have done, which is play for the same school and win a title as a coach. He's got a chance here. Jon Scheyer and the Blue Devils on to the Final Four as he fills in admirably for Coach K. Coach K's last season was in 2022. They lost North Carolina in the Final Four. Jon Scheyer getting Duke back to the Final Four, this one in San Antonio. Back here with the big men, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle, Adam Finkelstein, except I know Tim would like to change his name perhaps one day to something else. We'll get to that in a moment. Duke, you don't need to change their name, Tim. It is just Duke across the chest, Cooper flag on the back, Con Knipple, Kaman Malawach, just getting it done. Tyrese Proctor, they made this look easy.
If you have Duke winning your bracket, you feel pretty good right now, because I believe they're the best team in college basketball, because Cooper Flag.
Whoa. You just said that about Florida.
No, I have Florida winning the bracket. I'm just being honest. I think Duke's the best team in college basketball. Like, eyeball test, we went on at halftime in this game, and we were like, Alabama's in trouble. And, at the end of the day, they can't make a shot. They go 8 of 32 from 3 after making 25 threes in their previous game. Duke's defense, Hunter, just suffocated them. This game really wasn't competitive.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on Thursday, where we said that, Duke's defensive versatility can give Alabama a little bit more trouble than BYU did. Just because you got guys like Cooper Flag who are able to switch, Kaman Malawach who are able to switch on a Mark series and really stifle him. Kaman Malawach had only, 2 blocks, but it felt like he had 20 the way he was protecting the rim. And
totally.
I think that's the reason why Alabama, scored almost half the points they did versus BYU. And I think, shooting 8 for 32 has definitely had a big factor in that.
You could just see the body language on the Alabama bench. Anytime somebody got into the paint, particularly Mark Sears, Malawach was just too big. They had to try and convert with different angles, trying to get over top of him. And Hunter hit the nail right on the head. 2 blocks, yeah, but the amount of shots that he changed had to be in double figures. This was an incredibly dominant defensive effort, not just from Malawach, who I think has gotten loads better as the season has gone on. Obviously, you've guarded him. You could speak to that more than I could, but just so impressed with his growth during the course of the season. But also the perimeter defenders, too. I mean, remember, to start 3 freshmen and to be this good defensively, it's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, this challenge right there on Grant Nelson, not too many people can go. When Grant Nelson goes off one leg, he's really athletic, and Malawach was able to get up and intimidate him. That's the stat. Intimidates. 2 blocks, 11 intimidates.
Yes.
Akeem loves that.
I love that stat.
Yeah,
the sabermetrician stat that Tim Doyle came up with a couple years ago, and it's a really good one.
Intimidates.
It's a fantastic stat.
Yeah, it needs to be a stat. You see Mark Sears here, struggled. The guy's had a fantastic career. I covered him at Ohio U. I wasn't sure how the transition was going to go from mid-major to major because not a freak athlete, not 6'6", a bit undersized, not that fast. He's had a fantastic college career. He just ran into a team of a bunch of pros, and this is just a really bad matchup. As for Alabama, is their season a success? Because I picked them preseason to win it all. Went to a Final Four last year. Don't get to a Final Four this year. Still going to Elite Eight, you lose to Duke. Season of success.
I think it's tough because, when you have such high expectations like Alabama did and they return so much, you have Final Four aspirations, you have national championship aspirations, and when you don't win the conference and you don't get to the Final Four, it's tough. But I mean, in this NIL era, nothing's guaranteed. You can think you have the best team in the country. I mean, we were ranked preseason #1, and we were, a 7 seed? And so nothing's guaranteed in this college basketball landscape with NIL and transfer portal. So, if you make it to Elite Eight, you're one of the best 8 teams in the country ending the season. You've got to feel good about yourself.
Yeah, that's why the big thing about consistency, right? And you always talk about big thing is culture, right? Every program has a culture. You look at Houston with a culture. You look at some of these teams that have built this culture over the years. John Shire takes over here for Coach K, gets him back to the Final Four 3 years later.
Yep.
And John Shire played in the Final Four. Now he's going to be coaching in the Final Four. How has he been able to guide this roster to a Final Four? How has he been able to be the architect of this Blue Devils team?
Well, did you notice what Cooper Flagg did as soon as the game ended? He ran right over to Shire and gave him a hug. Shire couldn't even go through the handshake line because Cooper got to him first, and I think that speaks to the relationship. Listen, the first thing John Shire did to solidify this blue blood and brotherhood brand before Coach K even stepped aside was he continued to recruit at that absolutely elite level. He maintained the relationships with the top players in the country, and that has carried through. The reason why this is significant is because now he's in his first Final Four. He was 0-2 in Elite Eights. Now he's gotten over that hump. 3 years in, he's into his first Final Four, and he's about to become the winningest head coach, if he wins one more, I believe, in the first 3 years in college basketball history.
Yeah, I mean, Duke has been known to have great freshman talent, for the last, since I was born, which, it's been 24 years. So,
but you also said they're not overpaying for people.
Yeah.
They have like a standard where you come in and you get this.
Yeah, so I think Shire's obviously done a great job of getting freshman talent, but surrounding him with great role players who know their role. I mean, you get a Mason Gillis, Sion James, 2 experienced guys who play their role perfectly, and they surround, those talented freshmen with perfect role players who aren't trying to do too much. They're letting the freshmen succeed and excel. I think John Shire's built a complete team that really complements each other.
We talk a lot about Flagg, Proctor, Knipple, Malawach. Sion James doesn't get a lot of love, and he's, as Tim would say, kind of like a glue guy. He might not get you double digits, but he's going to get you 9.7 rebounds. He's going to do the dirty work.
The term 3-and-D is overused these days because people see it on social media and they say, oh, I'll say that. It'll make me sound smart. And they have no idea what they're talking about. But this guy is a 3-and-D player.
You're right.
He can defend. He can defend multiple positions. He can space the floor, and he can knock down shots with a high degree of accuracy from behind the three-point line. That's what 3-and-D means. That's okay. Just file it away. He's a legit 3-and-D player. So does he get like the national buzz? No, he doesn't. But you know who he's getting some attention from? He's getting attention from NBA scouts because the role he is playing with the body type he has, that's a role that translates to the next level. Not to be a star, but to play the same supportive role he's playing right now.
Well, think about it. If you're a GM, right, you want guys at the next level to buy into their role. This guy scored a lot of points at Tulane. And now he comes to Duke and he's like, cool, I'll score 8. Who do you need me to guard? You need me to grab 7 rebounds? A lot of guys can't do that. A lot of guys are like, hey, bro, I score 18 a game. I need 14 shots. And like the fact that he's already done this in college, if I was a GM of a team, I'd be like, that's a guy we want.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. Guys come into the pros and they're like, well, I've been a star for all these years. I need to do this. And they're like, brother, you're going to have to like earn your stripes here. So the fact that he's already done it at Duke, that's only going to help his draft stock. Hard to do. For John Shire, good job. He made his sauce a different way. Okay, he's got a guy sticking around in Proctor. Bye-bye to Roach. We got some freshmen here. Interesting sauce that he has, but it's also Duke, so the finest ingredients there at Duke.
Duke has won 15 in a row, the second longest active streak in D1 behind only Houston, who they could face in the Final Four. Houston wins another one, and it's 17 in a row. So you're Duke, Tim, and I guess the easier path, and I don't even think it's easier, you're wanting to perhaps see Tennessee.
You want to see Tennessee.
I don't want to see Houston there because of what Houston's going to make you do defensively and get you in a kind of knots, whereas Tennessee's a different sort of approach.
I also think that you don't want to see Houston because the Final Four is in San Antonio.
That's fair.
3 hours away.
So because they're going to get a great turnout there. And so, yeah, if you're a Duke fan, you want to be pulling as hard as you possibly can for Tennessee. At the end of the day, right, you're trying to win 6 games. You're going to have to beat the best teams. But, yes, you'd much rather see Tennessee.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Houston, these freshmen have never seen anything like Houston. I mean, they've played Auburn, who's a really good team and can be physical at times, but Houston's a different story. And I think it's an obvious choice that, I mean, Tennessee's a really hard-playing team, too, an older, experienced team. But Houston, you definitely want to see Tennessee in that matchup.
It's 1 versus 2. Like, I agree. They'd probably rather see Tennessee, but I think that it's not that big of a difference. Both of those teams are elite. This is a hell of a basketball game, no matter how you look at it. Both teams are terrific, and it's going to be a battle no matter how you line it up. And, you know, and again, I'm going to say this. Tennessee, the best offensive version of Rick Barnes' club we've seen in a long time. They will make Duke guard. Both teams would pose a tremendous challenge.
Well, I want to see Houston because I got Houston in the national championship. So
that would help your bracket, though.
Yeah, that would help me. Duke has not ever lost in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
12-0 in the state of New Jersey.
Maybe afterwards you go to the bada bing.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love New Jersey.
It's a Sopranos reference, by the way.
Great state.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Great state. Duke having all kind of success. A perfect 12-0 in the state of New Jersey. And guess what? We're going to head back to Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center, a.k.a. The Rock. Matt Norlander will join us coming up here on CBS Sports HQ. Still ahead, much more reaction from Duke advancing to the Final Four. Dance on, Blue Devils, as they absolutely crush Alabama, winning by 20 on to the Final Four for the 18th time in school history. Ken Jeong there, my favorite actor from Duke. Didn't he get a doctorate degree there too as well?
A doctorate at North Carolina, I think.
Okay.
He got 1 degree at Duke, the other one at North Carolina.
That guy's impressive. I want to point something out here that Duke in the Final Four in the state of Texas, they have not won a national championship in the state of Texas at all. They just haven't. I don't know if you put any stock into that, Tim. If you look at that and you go, that doesn't really matter. It's a site. It's just a site. It's just San Antonio. It's just Texas. It's just every different year. Like some teams have success in certain sites.
It's not, not part of the sauce.
I don't know. Hard to...
You got to make some sauce in Texas now.
Yeah, you know, do they play every year in the stadium? Every year it's in a football stadium?
Football stadium, yes.
Yeah, I mean, so that would concern me if they were, you know, a 3-point shooting team. But there was so much more than that. You know, like, no, I don't think it really matters. This team is, when I look at pros and starting 5, they by far have the most. And they probably have the most starters in the NBA in their starting 5. So this is what normally wins. I think we can go back, Hunter, on teams that won in the past, look at their rosters and be like, oh, yeah, that guy ended up playing the NBA for 14 seasons. I think we're going to look at this Duke team and be like, wow, that roster was absolutely loaded.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, it's Florida. You know, I heard we had some good, you know, TV show references with the movie, what was it, with Rocky? Oh, Rocky.
Rocky.
I think
Rocky
I'm going to go with,
was, yeah.
I think, you know, Florida, I'm going to go with the Avengers, and I think Florida might be Thanos. I mean, they're collecting the Infinity Stones. The first one, Norfolk State. Then they went and got UConn. UMD was the next Infinity Stone. Texas Tech, and now they're going to collect another one, versus whether it's Auburn or Michigan State. I mean, I would say Auburn's maybe the Hulk. Michigan State might be, what, Black Panther? Duke, I'd say maybe it's Doctor Strange, probably the best chance of getting them. But, you know, I think this Florida
Spoiler
team,
alert, Thanos' head got cut off.
Wow. He did snap the finger. He wasn't what he did wasn't inevitable. And I think what Florida is inevitably going to do is win a national championship.
I like that. That was well done. I appreciate that as a Marvel fan. Okay. Duke, by the way, Duke has trailed for 5 minutes and 35 seconds this entire tournament. Do you remember when we were talking about that same similar stat last year? Who was that? UConn. Massive point differential. Guess what Duke's point differential is? Plus 197 in this tournament.
Yeah, but what are you supposed to do? What are Adam and I supposed to do? We have Florida winning the national championship, so do you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what are we supposed to do? I'll admit it, Duke's better. But, like, you make predictions before the tournament started.
When you're not sure Cooper Flagg's healthy.
And now he's healthy. The eyeball test, this team has been dominant. You see what they're doing right now. And now what are you supposed to do? Oh, well, I don't like my bracket. I'm going to, like, change my pick. You can't do that.
I know you can't.
Like, we're in this
locked
job
in
to make opinions. By the way, this is the comparison I laid out before the game. Start looking at Grant Hill old footage. This guy was awesome. He finished top 3 in MVP voting. His 3rd year in the NBA. 4 years in college. 2 national championships. His 2nd year at Duke, he shot 61% from the field. He's a swingman, by the way. And he was another guy whose jump shot that they said, oh, Grant Hill really can't shoot the ball. Don't know why
he'll be calling the Final Four on CBS.
But Cooper's jumpers improved. Shot on 40%.
It's like a Bugs Bunny reference. I'm not sure what's going on here.
But, yeah. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Duke is going to be there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
National champion, you know what I got. I got Houston, so that's what I'm locked into.
All kidding aside, same thing. I picked Florida. Florida was the pick 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, 10 days ago. But the reality is Duke has been the most dominant team in this
So
field
what are you so what are we supposed to do when we go down to San Antonio? Oh, I picked Florida before the tournament.
We're gonna leave Bugs Bunny in Connecticut.
Yeah. When all the 4 teams are set, you can say when I talk to you and I'll say who do you got winning this whole thing? You give me whatever 4 of the 4 teams you like. You can.
So I'm allowed to change my mind.
Of course, when you're.
What do you think?
I mean,
what do you think? You think you got to stick with your original bracket?
I mean, when Rocky went up against Ivan Drago, people probably flipped their minds back and forth when they saw that big Russian. But what did Rocky do? And he ended up winning.
He's coming along
He
quickly.
ended up winning.
So I have to stick.
It caused some, you know, caused some stuff in the crowd to happen during the fight and everything.
If views can change.
Yeah.
Do you want to change your pick to Duke?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're that much better. I told you at halftime ago, this game's over.
This isn't the portal, though. You can only change once. You know, you only get one mulligan here.
Yeah, I mean, like last year, I didn't pick UConn to win it, and then they just keep winning, and they were dominant, and that's actually happened in the last 2 years. So now I'm like, eyeball to Florida. UConn could have knocked them out. Florida, they're on borrowed time. They're like a cat. Hey, you watch Duke, they just smack around everybody. The games aren't competitive. Like, how could you possibly watch this tournament and be like, oh, Florida's the better team? They're not the better team.
Well, what we do know is that we will not have 4 teams from the SEC in the Final Four because Alabama comes up short. Unfortunately, one of their worst games of the season, shooting 35% from the floor. Nate Oats, postgame here from New Jersey.
I'll hear a funeral voice.
Thank you so much for coming out and taking time. It seemed like you never got to see the true Alabama team that you know. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, Duke's very good, obviously. They showed it tonight. We didn't play our best, but that's in large part due to the way they played us. You know, we never had a great defensive game. They came out, kind of kicked us in the mouth right out of the gate. When we were getting stops, our offense, wasn't going. I think we maybe cut it to 6 in the second half, and they blew it open again. But it started switching everything. Sherelle came out, hit a couple threes. They had to change they adjusted, they started switching. We didn't do a very good job attacking the switches. Maybe a couple times that was it. So I feel disappointed for our guys. I mean, this group of guys kind of elevated Alabama basketball to a different level. Back-to-back Elite Eights for the first time in school history. We had big goals and we didn't meet them. But only one team's going to cut the nets down. Duke's had an unbelievable year. We didn't shoot it well. They shot it really well. We didn't do a good enough job as coaches getting these guys ready to play against that. But they're a very good team. So sad for our guys. That group of seniors, particularly Grant and Mark, that made the Final Four last year back, and Cliff's been an unbelievable kid to coach. Youngblood's a winner through and through. It's tough for those 4 seniors. Our walk-on Charnowski had an unbelievable influence on it. And the young guys, the guys that came in to play with them, the young guys that came back, Jaron was big and making the Final Four. Mo Diabate was, it just wasn't meant to be tonight. And so, it's sad in the locker room, just came to an end. But, coached a lot of years. Not very many times you win your last game. So a lot of respect for Duke, and we'll continue to plug away at it and hope to get back to Final Four and compete for national championships in the future.
Coach, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Heck of a season for Alabama. They set a tournament record in their previous game, 25 threes, most in an NCAA tournament game in March Madness history. They just could not get it going here. 65 points in this one. They only scored fewer than 70 points once this season. That was in a loss to Ole Miss. And they score only 65 here. They went 8 of 32 from beyond the arc after knocking down 25 in their previous game. More Nate Oats from the podium now for more comments.
Nate, Ralph Russo from the, from the Athletic. Same question, similar to what we gave your players. Can you give us a little assessment of how they were so good defensively?
Yeah, I mean, one is they've got length all over the place. You look at their starting lineup, they've got Common Malawak that's got a 9'8" staying reach. He protects the rim at a high level, so it's the way we want to play. It's been top 5 offense in the country. We've led the country in scoring the last 2 years. It's a good way to play, but when they've got a rim protector, it's hard to get rim shots. So I'm looking, at the rim, we shot 48%. We only made 12 shots at the rim tonight. We were 12 of 25. So, he made that tough. We made the point to our guys, we're not going to go in and score on them. And we had a few guys still trying to challenge him for, it's kind of a habit. You can tell them going in, and then, he ended up having 2 blocks. We ended up having more blocks than them, but the way he challenges, it's a problem. So, he challenges at the rim. Then they've got Cooper at whatever he is, 6'9". Then everybody else is 6'6" or taller, so they've got length. So, we tried to match Aiden Sherrell's minutes with Malawak to just stretch it. Aiden came out, did what he was supposed to. Did what I thought he would do, made 2 threes. They kind of adjusted, went smaller with them. Then we tried to kind of match Cliff when they had their smaller 5s in, so we kind of get our roller behind. But then they just went to switch in. Cliff hurt his knee a little bit there, and I thought once they went to switch in the ball screens, we weren't very good. They switched, and we kind of went to ISO ball. That's not how we play. We didn't get them. We didn't get their 5 in the action enough. It's hard. You got the 1-day prep. I thought we did a good job as a coaching staff of getting our guys ready for all different coverages, but you kind of do that all summer and fall, and then as you go into a game, you target how they're going to guard you, and then you prep for the 2 or 3 days going in. Well, you don't have 2 or 3 days going in. You got a walkthrough that you don't go live yesterday, so it's hard to prep for them. We still got some decent looks from 3, and we just didn't hit them. They shot 6 of 13. We shot 8 of 32. So we shot 25% from 3. Is that good enough to beat Duke? Yeah, if you do everything else at an elite level, and we didn't do everything else at an elite level. We didn't finish at the paint. We didn't get to the old boards well enough. We had too many turnovers. Had 3 turnovers before the first media timeout, which dug us a huge hole right out of the gate. Our defense wasn't where it needed to be in the first 4 minutes, and then we turned the ball over 3 times. So, we dug ourselves a hole early, gave ourselves some adversity we had to face. I thought we did a decent job fighting back, but they're too good a team to dig yourselves a big hole. And I think the closest we ever got it from that was 6. And then they went on a big run there in the last kind of that under 8 media. We had a shot there. I think it was a 9-point game with the under 8 media, and then they kind of came out and went on a 13-0 run, and the game was over then.
We'll stay at this end of the row 1.
You obviously had high expectations for this team coming into the year. Just what do you think held back this team from reaching some of the goals, whether it was in the SEC or making a Final Four? Like I think you said you're disappointed that this team didn't make one.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I mean, we were supposed to be one of the better shooting teams in the country. If we'd have had Reitzel and Mallet, maybe that changes things obviously a little bit, but injuries happen. Everybody across the country has some injuries. So we adapted, became better on the old boards, got to the free throw line better. Tonight we didn't get to the free throw line. We're 11 of 14. They made 19. We only shot 14. So, one of our ways to adapt to not having, we still were able to make shots. Obviously, 2 nights ago we broke the NCAA record, but it wasn't consistent enough. Making threes at a high level, for everybody. And you kind of look at the guys that made the bulk of the threes 2 nights ago, and Sears, Youngblood, and Holloway only made 1 each. So, it's, what were they, 3 for 16, as opposed to all the ones they made 2 nights ago. So, when those guys aren't making them, who else do you have that can knock them down? And I thought LeBaron and Aiden Sherrill did a good job, with 5 between the 2 of them, but we didn't get much help. And, through the course of the year, we lost some tough ones. I didn't do a good job with our end-of-game situation at Tennessee. We win that. Maybe things are different. We lost a 2 to Florida. If you're a 1 seed instead of a 2 seed, you don't play Duke. Duke's going to be a 1 seed. You got somebody else in the Elite 8. So you kind of look to some stuff. Could you have done things better? We lost a home game to Ole Miss. They're a good team, but we should have never lost a home game to Ole Miss. So, even if you win the home game against Ole Miss, I don't mess up the end of the game against Tennessee. Maybe you're still a 1 seed, even with those 2 losses to Florida, and you're playing somebody else in the Elite 8. So there's a lot of things you can look to that I got to do a better job as a head coach, and I will do a better job moving forward, that we got to, continue to recruit guys that fit our system and adapt when things happen, and do better in the regular season to give yourself a better chance with a better seed. Now we went to a Final Four as a 4 seed last year. We had a chance as a 2, but it's certainly a lot better. I think Florida is in, they're a 1 seed. Duke's in, they're a 1 seed. So far there's 2 teams in the Final Four, they're both 1 seeds. We got to do a better job during the regular season, try to make sure we get that 1 seed. It's a little easier to make it as that 1 seed. But, there's also, I don't know if there's been a better 3-year run in Alabama history. We number 1 overall seed, make a Final Four, then make back-to-back Elite 8s. So while it was disappointing for the standards we set, most teams in the country didn't set the standards as high as we set them. So, and like I said, there was 4 teams go to the Final Four last year. We were the only one that was in the Elite 8. The other 3 either didn't make the tournament, were bounced before the Sweet 16, or Purdue lost in the Sweet 16. So, with the standard of excellence we've set across all of college basketball, we've established ourselves as one of the best programs in the country. Are we disappointed tonight? For sure we are, but we've put ourselves up there with everybody else, and we're going to continue to do that year in and year out, and keep knocking on the door, keep pounding the stone, if you will, and, be one of the teams competing for a Final Four and a national championship and conference championships in the best conference in college basketball every year, and we'll get back to Final Four and win one here soon.
Tough finish for Nate Oats and Alabama. They were the highest scoring team in Division I for the 2nd straight season. Last year, their season ended in Phoenix in the Final Four. They were trying to get back to the Final Four, back-to-back Final Fours for the first time in school history. They had a record-setting performance against BYU in the Sweet 16, 25 made threes. They only hit 8 in this one, and their season comes to an end.